President Rivlin, on behalf of the World Jewish Congress and the Jewish people from 100 countries, we wish you the best as you take on the presidency of this great and dynamic country. We also send our greetings to Prime Minister Netanyahu, along with our best wishes to him as well. And to my good friend, Rabbi Benny Alon, my friend and partner, and Jürgen Bühler, parliamentarians and congressmen who have come here from around the world, all of you, my fellow allies of Israel. Last year, when you kindly invited me to your Feast of Tabernacles celebration, as President of the World Jewish Congress, I began by saying, thank you. 1 year later, I want to say thank you again. Thank you for your continuous support of the Jewish people. Thank you, my Christian brothers and sisters, for standing with Israel through this very difficult year. And thank you for standing here in Jerusalem, the undivided capital of the Jewish state of Israel. Israel has no better friends in the world than you. We know that you have watched out for us, and we will always watch out for you. That is what friends do for each other. The fact is, there is no safer place in the Middle East for Christians than here in Israel. Here in Israel, Christians can pray in the open. In Israel, Christians' holy sites are protected. In Israel, Christians do not have to fear for their lives. And here in the Jewish state of Israel, the Christian population is growing, not shrinking. However, at the same time, 120,000 Christians have been killed throughout the Middle East and Africa. Every year over the past 10 years, hundreds of thousands of Christians have fled their homes and are now refugees. 50 years ago, the Christian population in Bethlehem was more than 70%. Today, it's under 20%. This is not by accident. The rampage against Christians is by design. Last year, I told you, as President of the World Jewish Congress, just as I will never be silent in the face of anti-Semitism, I will never be silent when Christians are the targets. I have kept my promise. You all received a copy of the article that I wrote in the New York Times entitled, "Who Will Stand Up for the Christians?" I wrote this because I was outraged by the world's silence of Christian suffering. When hundreds of thousands of Christians, men, women, and children are killed, this isn't a war. This is genocide. And Jews know what happens when the world is silent to genocide. We learned that lesson the hard way, and we never want to see it repeated again. Not to us, not to you, not to anybody. Since I saw you last year, the terror against Christians and Jews has only increased. And as I travel around the world over the past 12 months, I am now convinced that we must join forces. A Jewish-Christian coalition makes complete sense. Together, Christians and Jews must speak as one and tell the world, no more discrimination, no more terror, no more death, and no more silence. We have also seen a bone-chilling rise in anti-Semitism this summer. Things that we have not seen or heard in Europe since World War II. Horrible, disgusting lies about Jews that sound just like the Nazis. We see this in Belgium, in France, in Hungary, and sadly even in Germany. This summer looked more like 1938 than 2014. And you know that the same people who go after us are also going after you. That is why Christians and Jews must join forces and act together. We must always remember our shared values and our shared past. We have gathered here at the start of the Jewish New Year for Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles, when God commands us in Leviticus 23 to leave the security of our homes, to live in temporary huts that remind us how we lived when God brought us out of Egypt. And when we finally leave these temporary dwellings, we are reminded that everything we have comes from God. The Festival of Sukkot also reminds us that there is a strong arm to help us when our own arm may fail us. Next week, the Jewish people will finish the yearly cycle of reading the Torah. And when the last words we read out, and just before we start all over again with Genesis and the creation of the world, every Jew stands up in every synagogue across the globe, and we recite the words in English, be strong, and may we be strengthened together. For me, this is one of the most moving moments of the year. It reminds me that throughout time, Jews have always faced great challenges. But it always reminds me that with God's help, Jews have always prevailed. And today, there is one big difference. Today, we do not stand alone. Anything that comes our way, we face together with you. Today, Christians and Jews are together as one. Together, we will find strength. Yes, we will be courageous. This message is my call to arms. First, no more silence. Raise your voices. Speak out. Speak out against anti-Semitism. Speak out against anti-Christian terror. Tell the truth about Israel and what has happened to Christians in the Middle East. No more lies. No more lies. No more lies. Just the truth. when you leave Jerusalem and go back to your homes. You must speak out. Speak out in your churches. Speak out in the newspapers and on television, radio, and internet. Take to the streets with marches and demonstrations. There are over 4,000 people in this room and millions more watching on television. Everyone hearing my voice right now must act. Everyone must speak out. Our enemy has shown his face with its rapes, with its slaughter of Christian women and children, and with his beheadings. These are barbarians we read about in the Bible. They are as bad as anything we have seen, and they must be stopped. In Paul's second letter to Timothy, he wrote, God did not give us the spirit of fear, but the spirit of power. That is exactly what we say in the Torah. We must not be afraid. We must find strength. This doesn't come from the President of the World Jewish Congress. It comes from a higher being. Do not fear. Have courage. Have strength. And as one, Christians and Jews, we will be strengthened together. And we will. We will not fail. Thank you, and God bless every one of you. Shalom. Thank you.